Sergio Perez's sacking is already causing a lot of disquiet in the Red Bull team as the blame game for the fallouts begins. Thanks to Horner sneaking in a breakaway clause, Perez can now retire into the beautiful Mexican sunset with a cool $15 million. What's more, Perez isn't leaving Red Bull alone as hundreds of thousands of his loyal fans abandons Red Bull. So, what went wrong? How did Horner make such a costly error in Perez's contract? On this episode, we will count the cost of Perez's sacking. Later, we will reveal how his axing made Honda sever ties with the company, as they do not want to be publicly associated with Red Bull. Welcome to Front Lookout. It had been pretty clear for a while that Sergio Perez would not be a part of Red Bull's future on the back of his disappointing 2024 campaign. However, what was not so obvious was exactly how the parting of ways would play out because of the complications caused by him having a watertight contract. That was the result of the decision made by Red Bull in June to hand Perez a 2-year extension for 2025 and an option for 2026 in a move the team thought would settle him down. Horner, who signed off on the deal, will go on to regret his actions. We elected to go early, which obviously didn't work. That's just life sometimes. Once committed to the contract, which was worth $19.5 million, there was absolutely no way Red Bull could change its mind and simply decide that it preferred to do something different. It is noteworthy that in the big money world of F1, managers do not simply rip up multi-million-dollar contracts and walk away without some form of compensation being put on the table. Moreover, a chief weapon in Perez's armory was his veteran manager Julian Jacobi, who is well known for driving a hard bargain. Red Bull was well aware of the contractual situation during the closing stages of this season, when it was clear on performance grounds that it wanted to make a change but equally understood there were other factors that clouded the situation. Red Bull knew it needed Perez to concede ground all by himself about the realities of the situation he was in. But it is quite the cat-and-mouse game. If Perez feels they are trying to rip him off, then he will most likely make it very clear that he intends to see it out. This was the battle that appeared to be playing out in the closing stages of the season as Perez, well aware the writing was on the wall, dug ever deeper about his determination to race on with Red Bull. In Abu Dhabi, he had this to say about the development. Nothing has changed since in terms of what I've said for the entire year. I've got a contract for next year, and I will be driving for Red Bull next year. Red Bull equally knew that it could not simply just dump Perez on a whim, as F1's Contracts Recognition Board would likely have got involved if there had been any breach in what had been signed. So Red Bull finally gave in and agreed to pay Perez off with a staggering $15 million severance package. Now, that's a lot of money, considering the fact that Perez's poor performances cost Red Bull millions of dollars in revenues last season. But the huge financial loss isn't the only blow Red Bull is currently facing. The team's decision to let Perez go has sparked a massive fan revolt, with hundreds of thousands of loyal supporters, mostly in South America, turning their backs on the team. The numbers are staggering. 120,000 followers were gone within just 7 hours of the announcement, and the exodus shows no signs of slowing down. The anti-Red Bull movement is gaining momentum, with former fans proudly posting screenshots online to prove their exit from the team. Meanwhile, in Mexico, Red Bull's clothing sponsor Castor is scrambling to offload Perez's merchandise. A massive clearance sale is underway, with jerseys and caps being flogged down at discounts of up to 80%. These huge financial losses and troubling fan revolt comes at a time of heightened tension in Red Bull's locker room, as Yuki Tsunoda is still yet to come to terms with missing out on the much-coveted Perez's seat in the Red Bull's cockpit, after the team opted to promote RB teammate Liam Lawson to fill in Perez's role. The Japanese racer's latest omission comes despite him having driven the RB20 in the post-season test in Abu Dhabi, where he insisted that he impressed Red Bull. Tsunoda has since been unwavering in his stance that he merits a chance with Red Bull having emerged as RB's standout driver in 2024, scoring 30 of the team's 46 points. His phenomenal start to 2024 earned him an extension and prompted Daniel Ricciardo, billed as Red Bull's insurance option, to be axed. When asked whether he had done enough to warrant a Red Bull seat, Tsunoda had this to say: "I mean, compared to my teammate, it's quite clear what I've done this year. It's quite clear that I should get a chance. But it's Formula One, one of the political sports as well, and anything can happen." So why did Red Bull ignore Tsunoda to crown the largely inexperienced Lawson as Perez's successor? It has been long rumored that Tsunoda's relationship with Honda, which has supplied engines to Red Bull since 2019, is behind the team's hesitation to give him a shot. Honda will cut ties with the team after the 2025 season, but they have gone more vocal about it now. A recent puzzling move by Honda has revealed some growing tension between them and Red Bull. When Honda recently posted a farewell message to Sergio Perez, they deliberately cropped out Christian Horner, Red Bull's team boss, from the photo. This was really surprising, since Horner was clearly visible in the original picture. This subtle snub by Honda would have been unimaginable just a short time ago when the relationship between both parties was still humming along smoothly. But now, it seems there's some bad blood between them. By cropping Horner out of the photo, Honda was clearly sending a message that something's not right between them and Red Bull. Honda's decision to part ways with Red Bull raises big questions for the team and for the sport as a whole. In our analysis, we believe this decision can be due to one of three reasons. Firstly, Honda's future lies with Aston Martin. Their decision to partner with Aston Martin in 2026 might have influenced the cropping, as it could be interpreted as an effort to distance themselves from Red Bull. This move has been seen by some as a way to establish a clear identity ahead of the transition. Their aim could be to intentionally sideline key Red Bull figures in public-facing media. The other reason could be due to the tension between both teams. While Honda powered Red Bull Racing to significant success, including 4 championships with Max Verstappen, the partnership hasn't been without tension. Red Bull's decision to build their own powertrains post-2021 may have created underlying friction, with this cropping incident serving as a symbolic representation of unresolved issues. Lastly, Christian Horner also has a polarizing presence. He might have been found innocent of his sexual assault charges, but such an event has a way of stigmatizing you. This could just be Honda's way of keeping their distance from the Brit. But it is not all bad blood between both parties, as Red Bull recognizes the damage to their brand in South America and are trying to remedy the situation. In light of this, Red Bull's team principal, Christian Horner, has confirmed that Perez will remain associated with the team in a different capacity. Horner stated that Perez is set to participate in several show runs during the 2025 season, allowing him to continue his involvement with Red Bull and maintain a presence in the Formula One community. These show runs are typically non-competitive events where drivers demonstrate the capabilities of Formula One cars to fans, often in various locations worldwide. This role will enable Perez to engage with audiences and represent Red Bull Racing outside the competitive circuit. While Perez's departure from the race seat marks a significant shift in his career, his continued association with Red Bull through these events suggests an ongoing relationship with the team, albeit in a different capacity. It is fair to say that Perez's sacking has opened a Pandora's box at Red Bull, one that its seasoned managers never saw coming. And as the dust settles on Perez's exit, the million-dollar question remains. Will Red Bull come to regret their decision to let Perez go? Only time will reveal the answer. This is Front Lockout, signing off.